you make people want to tighten up. Discipline. Like, you need to be organized. Like, if you're going to do the podcast, you need to do it all the way.
Good things that come are not easy. And most of the key ingredients in these hair products are
Rosemary.
I'm personally big on growing community. Everyone's a rosebud, and it's a perfect community of all of us.
Now everybody's just little rosebuds
and
together.
That's why I'll call them when people say, I'm so basic. I'm like, nothing is basic. You're classic. Like,
classic.
If you're
It's
involved,
signature.
It's signature.
Yeah.
I call it the classic look,
And
right?
this is the who? Bianca.
This is the Bianca.
This is the what? 28 inches.
Okay, period.
5 bundles. 5x5 HD. Closure.
She's always been a classic girl, like
Ooh, we
very
love a classic girl.
And I, for the longest time, Honesty Hour, I didn't create it for you for a long time on purpose because I was like, let me shine.
I said in my head, why is it taking so long for my order to come in? And like, I thought she put it in that first batch of hair that was supposed to come in.
I'm a girl that needs structure.
Yeah.
Because if it's not positive, then it's like, what are we doing here?
Your story in terms of how you decided to walk truly into what we see today when you took that trip to LA.
Exactly.
And you were doing hair and you were like, this is what I want to do.
I feel like when you bet on yourself, you have to create discipline.
Discipline is the key, where it's like, if you don't have that factor, that's what's gonna separate like good from great. Hello and welcome to the Empowered Era podcast, brought to you by the Elizabethan Era. I'm your host, Elizabeth, also known as Lizzie, and today's a very special day. This is a very special episode for many reasons, mainly because y'all are watching the season finale. We made it to the season finale. Like, we had so many episodes, we had so many guests. Everyone expressed themselves in the best way possible, and the feedback has been tremendous. There has been a lot of feedback regarding people resonating with different people's testimonies and stories. Overall, I feel like it has felt like this is what I'm supposed to do in terms of sharing other people's stories and sharing my story. So in efforts to wrap it up, I wanted to save the best for last. We have none other than Rosemary Osondu, also known as Rosie, but y'all don't call her that. She's the owner of Rose Style Studio. She is the high-end luxury hair experience connoisseur. She has a salon here in Dallas, Texas. She has been featured in Essence, Sheen, not Sheen, Vogue, Voyage Dallas, AfroTech, and a few more. Her work is truly, truly prominent, and it's one of those things where you could just be walking down the street and people will be like, oh my gosh, like, where's your hair from? I can almost tell that it's from Rose Style Studio. So among all of the wonderful things that I just mentioned, and that's just to name a few, also to mention that she's like a 4-year proud partner of Dallas Cowboys Cheerleader, which I'm still in awe of to see. She's my older sister. She's my biggest supporter, and she is my #1 mentor. So, I welcome Rosemary.
Hi.
Hey, Rosie.
Hey, girl.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
That was a big old introduction.
I know.
It's crazy when you kind of hear all your accolades. You're like, wow, that's a lot going on. But I appreciate it.
Of course. I feel like with each episode, I've chosen to introduce every person differently. Some people I'll give like the full on, and some people I'll just dive into the convo. With you, I know we're gonna dive straight in because like you're my sister. So I wanted to ensure that we highlighted on the emphasis of who you are outside of you being my sister.
Of course.
With everything that's listed, with what people know about you, with what people don't even know about you, I feel like you do a lot. You got a lot going on. You got a lot of motion. So how do you own your influence in the midst of all your motion?
It's actually interesting that you say that because I'm, I guess, really now tapping into owning my influence. I used to not think I had an influence because when I think of influence, there's only certain people I have an image of in my head. And to this day, sometimes I consider myself so small. Yeah. Even my team says all the time, they're like, you're so humble. You're so humble. And I'm like, is that the word we're going to use? Then I realize like, oh, I really do have influence. So I never really paid attention to it, but I'm always careful how I carry myself and present myself in like every decision that I do make. So it kind of feels like, are you doing this on purpose? And I'm like, naturally, I didn't realize that I was owning my influence because I'm being myself. And who I am is everything that people see. It's like, she is the hard worker. She is the boss, like, woman. She is the friend. She is the nurturing. She's like all of those things, and she has influence in that it kind of shines through, like, oh, I like that, or like, I want to be a part of that. And I really didn't really have to like try hard. Yeah, if that makes sense. And
no, it makes sense. There's a lot that we talked about offline.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing. Like, the whole point of this is to highlight on conversations that I feel like I have where it's like, dang, this should have been recorded. Yeah. Like, a lot of the conversations that we have, a lot of the things you've shared with me, in my head, I'm like, dang, if there was a fly on the wall, like, I want to be a fly on the wall to my convos. You see what I mean? And so I'm like, I'm sure somebody gonna get something out of it.
Yes,
and I like how you mentioned, like, whole time you were just showing up as yourself. And then everything just became what it was.
Exactly. So then they try to pull it into an influence, because as now people are reaching out to me and they wanted me to like speak on panels or like come to events, stuff like that. They're labeling influencer, and I'm like,
yo,
no, that's not me. Like, and then I start to hit, and I was like, you know what?
It is.
It is. Like, I do have an influence, and it may not be the stereotypical influence that we see that's the majority in society. Like, everyone's kind of put in a box. I am my own influence, and those categories that I stated earlier influences people in different ways.
I love that. I feel like the concept of influence, when people hear influencer nowadays, it seems oversaturated and it seems extremely obtainable, like a kind of a microwave success word. And I'll say that I feel like, I mean, my whole life has been influenced by you. And I feel like I'm a good protege example of your leadership and your influence.
Of course.
I think that the person that you are, you make people want to show up as their best, and you make people want to tighten up. Before I even recorded like my first guest, I shared the idea that, hey, I want to start a podcast with you. And I waited until I had some of my ducks in a row. But
I'm gonna ask some questions.
No, bad. If you guys know anything about like just African culture, if you have an idea, you want to present it to your parents, they want you to give a presentation. That's how Rosie is. Like, that's how our relationship feels like.
Plan A, B, and C.
That.
Not like A didn't work out, but like, once you execute A, how's B gonna go and how's C gonna deliver?
Exactly. Yeah. And if you don't have that figured out, it's like you probably need to go back to the drawing board. And in the moment, some of the criticism or like feedback will feel harsh, but I know it's all out of love. And something that you've always kind of instilled from jump has been like discipline. Like, you need to be organized. Like, if you're gonna do the podcast, you need to do it all the way. Like, don't do it mediocre, because that's never been your past, future, present. Like, that's not you. You don't put out mediocre stuff. So you need to rise to the occasion, and like, before you present yourself, make sure you've done the work. You've definitely been someone that expresses that. And I feel like you have a calling in being like a instructor, like leading others. Once again, I feel like I've been led by you my whole life, but what are your thoughts in terms of leading others?
It's interesting because I naturally love helping people, and I naturally love allowing people to like see their full potential. It doesn't matter if they're girls, like I'm like almost like a girl's girl. Like, I really want to see people win. Especially if I have an idea, because I have a lot of ideas in my head, but I know I personally can't do it because my focus is on something else. Maybe in another time, like maybe in a few years, if I do have more availability, then I'll do it. But there's so many things that when someone's chatting with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, do this. And then I get kind of annoyed when they don't really
they don't
really execute on it. Then I start realizing like I give out a lot of free gems, and it's not like I want anything out of it. So and it can go from with you, like just teaching you or you asking for advice, then I'm realizing that with my team now. And that's what kind of opened it up, where I really wanted to help other people outside of just like the how close
In proximity.
yes, that someone is
In
to
relation.
me. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I find like joy in like helping other, like giving someone maybe a solid advice, and then they're like, oh, I didn't think of it like that. And it just started turning into that. So I can see where the instructor can come out of, because it's definitely a challenge that I'm kind of walking into, but I truly feel like I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just trying to find the easier ways to do it, if that makes sense. I don't know if I can elaborate more on that.
Elaborate more.
Okay.
So when you say you're trying to find the easier ways, express like top 2 things that come to mind.
I feel like it's challenging. I feel like naturally when it comes to things that I like to do or enjoy doing, it flows. Like I don't feel like I have to put too much effort into it.
Okay.
But I feel like this instructor role that I'm walking into is more challenging. But I like the challenge because nothing has challenged me in a very long time. Yeah. So I think I've had a challenge maybe a few years ago to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But it started to become almost being content.
Yeah.
Where I was at, and it was too breezy.
Okay.
So then now this is a new challenge, and they always say things that are good, things that come are not easy. Like it's gonna be a challenge. So I'm realizing this uncomfortable position and feeling that I'm in, I'm supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to always find an easier way. I'm like, maybe I should do it like this. And when I try to do it easier way, it just doesn't work out. So I was like, I have to do this the hard way. And I feel like I have to start on it little by little so I can see the full potential of what it could possibly be. So I feel like maybe I'm being the guinea pig in my journey. I'm always gonna be the guinea pig in my journey.
Yeah.
Every day I know that I am. But I feel like I'm literally being the guinea pig in someone else's journey. And then I'm here to help them.
Yeah.
So the challenge that I'm burdening right now is so difficult that I have to think, you know what, this is gonna help someone else down the road. So let me muster through this.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like a platter for them.
Yeah. You're like setting up the playbook.
I feel like I'm setting up the playbook.
Okay, cheers to that. I love that.
Thanks.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
let's get this going.
Okay, go ahead.
Something that there's a lot you said that I resonate with, and
Yeah.
we will continue discussing it once we got, the drinks going.
Okay.
But something I definitely do want to touch on is this high-end experience that you're giving.
Oh,
What?
this is natural.
No, to know you is to know that you give an experience.
Oh, yeah.
And the girlies know that when they go into the salon, they're greeted with the rosé.
They really
Like
are.
the name is the brand. The Rosebud essence is the brand.
I had
you
a
know?
client tell me that maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And she's like, because we have retail products, and a lot of the ingredients in the retail products that we are giving to our clients. Okay. Something told me that was gonna happen.
I wish I was more enthusiastic about that, but like,
Something told me that was
let's
gonna
just
happen.
be for real, I wasn't.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, cheers to giving the Rose experience. Cheers to Rose Style Studio.
Cheers. That's good.
I like it. I think I actually had this ever since we were in the townhouse together.
Oh, this was one of the things that we separated.
There's so many bottles that I never drank,
Wow.
that I never touched. That was an era.
That was an era.
That was an era. But yeah, back to what we were talking about. This Rose Style Studio experience, this Rose experience, this Rosebud experience. How did you come up with the name of Rosebud?
That's interesting because it's funny how my name is a play on to, like, I would say my destiny.
And you had no idea.
I had no idea because I had a client 2 weeks ago. We sell retail products in the salon. And we're always recommending the products that we use in the salon for clients to use at home because, at home care is just important as salon care. And then we're like yin and yang, right? And most of the key ingredients in these hair products are rosemary. And sometimes they say it on the bottle, kind of like, is this your own line or is this your shampoo? And I'm like, no, it's just one of the
Speaking
key
into
ingredients.
existence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just the key ingredients, and this is what it does, X, Y, Z. And so she's like,
The tingle.
Exactly. So she's like, that's so interesting that your name is Rosemary and this is a thing. And I was like, you know what? I think about it all the time. So when the name came about, and then, you know, within a name, you have a community. Like I was really big. I'm personally big on growing community. So I knew that within the business, I wanted to grow in a community, and I wanted to grow a community of women at all ages and all different demographics and all ethnicities and all different lifestyles, different occupations. Just so many different women. Who can live up to like the Rose Style Studio brand. And so when I came up with Rosebud, technically a rosebud is the beginning of a rose, right? It's like the bud of the rose. So before a rose fully blossoms, when you see a fully blossomed rose, it is classy, it's beautiful, it's elegant, it's timeless, it's a gem. You want to just look at it. You're replacing the water every day so it continues to stay beautiful. You're very just caring for that rose. So before that rose became what we're seeing in display, it was a rosebud. And I feel like every woman has that potential to be all those things I describe of a rose. But you have to start somewhere. And it could be the clients or the customers that come in the salon or order online who are in high school, and I'm following their journey from high school. They're a true definition of a rosebud to me, because I have a client that I can think of right now that I've been with her since junior year of high school. And now she's junior year of college. And now she's gonna continue life after college. And then in her like era of her 20s and in her 30s. And then I have clients that are 56 who are 65 and they've already blossomed through that, and I'm just now experiencing them, so I can see that full blossom of a rose. Or even if they're even beginning in a new season or era that they're in, from what they share, I can tell like, okay, you fully have blossomed, and you're giving me classy, you're giving me elegant, you're giving me delicate, but then this new season that you're in, you're blossoming into something new, so you're still a rosebud. Yeah, so I feel like everyone's a rosebud, and it's a perfect community of all of us.
Now everybody's just little rosebuds
and that's why it makes you like, oh, I want to be a rosebud. So I always call the girls like, our rosebud are doing this, our rosebud's doing that, because they do have the potential to be all those things that I described. And it really starts from like the outside in, like your appearance, right?
Because first impressions mean a lot.
First impressions are everything. And I feel like how I always said, how I address myself, how I carry myself, it leaves a long impression on someone who I met for the first time. So naturally your hair is the first thing that people see, your hair and your smile most of the time. And so when you think about when we were in that weird time during COVID, everybody had a mask. All you see is people's eyes. And you have to realize that people's eyes were the ones that like grabbed your attention. But then outside of that is your hair. And so if your hair is not in the most neat, clean way, sometimes people may be like, okay, what's going on? Or like they may grab your personality. Okay, there's someone that is a little bit more sporty and they like to wear it up like this. Or there's someone who likes to do this type of activity. But when a woman has her hair, it's like, it's clean, it's polished, it's soft, it's cut layers, it just looks healthy. Then you start looking at that like classy, you look at the elegant, you look at the fierce. Is she trying a different color with it? Or she's trying like a spontaneous.
And you did a video with one of your clients, and she was expressing, she had like the brush in her hand, like a mic. It was
my
so
girl
cute.
Perrian.
And she was like, I feel like I've evolved as a rosebud.
She has evolved as a rosebud.
She's like, I went from one bead to now I'm trying different colors.
Like when she first came to me a few years ago, she literally was, I would call them when people say, I'm so basic. I'm like, nothing is basic. You're classic. Like if you're wearing, like even you right now, it's giving classic, just because you're not wearing blonde and red and brown and bob.
Signature.
It's signature. I call it the classic look.
And this is the who? Bianca.
This is the Bianca.
This is the what? 28 inches.
Okay, period.
5 bundles. 5x5 HD. Closure. Like,
no, seriously.
And that's the other thing. What's funny is every
and
time.
it's very simple. Like that whole thing was a very simple look. Like we're not trying to deal with all that extra-ness.
Yeah.
It's very clean. It's very simple. You just have a 5x5 HD lace closure, 5 bundles. 5 bundles is a little
5
extreme.
bundles. I mean,
but it's giving you
body
because your personality. You want body. You want that. Boom look. You want a little bit of boldness.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go with 5, right?
True.
And you have length.
Yeah.
So it's still a classic look, but it still has that boldness to it. And so like the client you're just talking about, Parian, she's always been a classic girl. Like
we
very
love a
classic,
girl.
neutral, clean, not too much color.
Yes, ma'am.
But as she's been evolving into the woman that she is, and she's getting outside of her bubble, and she's trying to try new things. It's like just trying new restaurants and trying new clothes and just trying to, it's good to evolve and change your image the way you want to. We've been having that conversation. I'm like, you know what? How about I walk you into this color? So we started at blonde, and she's like, I don't want to be full blonde, but I want like a little subtleness to it. I'm like, okay, we can still add a subtle that enhances your features and it enhances your undertones. And then she started with her blonde. She did that. Then we tapped it into a little bit more blonde. And then she's like, you know what? I think I want to do something a little different. I'm like, okay, show me some colors.
She was getting spicy.
So she showed me different shades of red. And I said, okay, I know the perfect red that looked good for you.
Okay. This is like when you had that video of the like, what my client asked for and what she got, and it's like different celebrities that had like that copper.
Correct. And
she saw like Mulatto had it.
Exactly.
And then boom.
It's Zendaya's. I think it was Zendaya's on there.
She had it as well.
Yeah, and so she showed me different ones, but one thing I love when someone trusts your expertise and your knowledge, she was like, I'm gonna send you a bunch of these, but I want you to go ahead and do what you wanna do. And I said, okay, well, these are all amazing color shades, but let me critique it and change it up so it fits you. And not everyone loves that color. And I've seen other clients who would want that particular color.
It's like a staple.
It's a staple now. And it'll look so different on everyone's skin tone. So sometimes I might end up changing it just a little bit. And then they'll put it on them. They're like, Rose, this is a little different, but I like this. I'm like, because I knew it wasn't gonna look exactly perfect for you. And I think that's the beauty of the
custom wig.
Exactly.
It's not a copy paste.
It's not a copy paste, and a lot of clients,
it's not a one size fits all.
They get kind of annoyed, and customers are like, well, I ordered this and it doesn't look like my homegirls. But I'm like, we're not a machine. Everyone's licensed cosmetologist who understands color theory, and we try to customize these colors where it still looks very unique, but it's different. Because honestly, why would you want to walk around with everyone looking like you?
Come on.
You really wouldn't.
I mean, but I think
close
nowadays,
enough, but
nowadays a lot of people are so okay with looking like everyone else because society has become very copy paste.
Very copy paste.
And they're not fully owning their influence, owning their authenticity, owning their individuality.
Exactly. And I feel like we could make mass productions of the blonde wigs, our Victoria, our Lily, our Melodies, but it always looks a little different on every single person.
Would you ever? I'm curious.
Do what?
Make mass production.
I mean, we do that now. Like when clients are ordering, they're ordering it online, and then we are creating it and we're shipping it out. So we're making 15 at a time, or 20 at a time, or 5 at a time. So but because we know the formula and we know how it's done, and I'm very detailed to it. We, me and the team are always like working on it, so everything looks the same. But it still may look a little different the way like this blonde and this brown is hitting here. But I feel like that's the beauty of the uniqueness. I feel like it doesn't have to look exactly the same. It's like we're not buying a shirt or a blazer, right? Where the blazer has to look the same.
It has to, dimensions, everything.
This is hair. It's like we don't want it to look perfect. I'm not a perfect girl when it comes to hair. Like I want it to look a little different, especially from me to you. You know? And so
even though I'll be taking your wig sometimes.
And I was gonna top on that because
the bob was a moment.
I was gonna jump on that.
The bob was a moment.
There's times where she will see a look that I have going on, and then she will want to like, hey Rose, can I get into that? But I'm used to that because clients do it all the time, because I am a walking billboard, and I realize that like I may have a bob and clients will be like, Rose, I want that bob. Or this look she had, this Bianca 28 inches,
very inspired
5
by
bundles. I was originally wearing this look a year ago, and she really wanted it. And I, for the longest time, honesty hour, I didn't create it for you for a long time on purpose because I was like, let me shine.
I said in my head, why is it taking so long for my order to come in? And like,
Yeah.
I thought she put it in that first batch of hair that was supposed to come in.
Because you have to also understand, we're talking about the uniqueness of a rosebud.
Yeah, true.
We look so much similar, and now we're having the same hair, and we're in the same city. That's too much.
That is a lie.
That's a lot, and I'm tired.
Do you feel like I'm in your shadow?
Not in my shadows. I never want you to be in my shadow, but it's like I want to have my own personality, my moment. So then I ended up cutting it.
You cut it?
So the classic one I've been wearing that was here.
Yeah.
That's the same 28 inches, but I turned it into 20 inches.
Crazy.
Yeah, and now everyone's like, even when I go to work,
they want that one.
What? They're like, Rose, I know we were gonna keep it long, but can we blunt cut it? I like the way yours is. And can we put some waves? And I'm like,
that.
No problem. That's fine because then we'll switch it because now we're wearing a ponytail. And so
I think there's power in being a walking billboard because if you're in your era of blonde, for example, majority of your clients are going to be like, oh, I'm seeing blonde. Maybe it's a sign. I want it. Like, when you get a car and then you see it on the highway enough times, you're like, maybe because it's top of mind or something. I feel like that happens often. But let's pivot into another topic, a topic that we lightly touched on, a little sprinkle.
Okay.
But I want us to dive a little deeper, like deeper, but deeper discipline. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like you're someone who you're really disciplined, and that's what your foundation is, and that's what keeps you so afloat.
Yeah.
When people see from the outside looking in, no one knows what goes on behind scenes in order to make it look seamless, in order to bring out the experience, in order to open up the shop 7 days a week or whatever the case may be. But you have so much discipline and diligence, and that's something that you've instilled in me. So let's talk a little bit about your thoughts on how you cultivated discipline for yourself.
Discipline has been honestly a challenge, even till today. I feel like discipline is not a thing that is like you say you have it and then you're done. I feel like people are working on discipline in many things. I feel like I'm personally
day in, day out.
Day in, day out. Like we're working on discipline when it comes to our wellness.
Yeah.
We're working on discipline on like our goals, if it's like with our faith. I feel like when it comes to discipline, just in general, I'm a girl that needs structure in my life.
Talk about it.
I really need structure.
What does structure look like to you?
Structure is not routine, but to the point where it makes sense. Like I just know that what I'm doing in my day-to-day life, it is, how would I even put it? It's like, I don't even know how to put it in words. I feel
it's like you're moving with a level of intent, meaning each day is gonna feel different from the next day.
Each day is gonna feel different, but it's almost routine.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But I know that it's all working towards a very positive end goal.
Yeah.
Because if it's not positive, then it's like, what are we doing here?
What are your thoughts on if it's not productive?
But when someone says productive, is productive a thing of like, it's a goal that you've written down for that day or a task, and then we cross it out and it's done? Is that your definition of productive? Because I don't think that's being productive.
I think just in terms of productive, society gives us this viewpoint that like, if you're not keeping busy, you're not being productive.
That's what I'm saying.
Versus on your end, I think what you're trying to express is like, you don't have to be so busy to be productive. You could have done 30 tasks, but that doesn't mean that it was a productive day. If you had an intentional 3 meetings, that was more production because it's now advancing you in a strategy.
Exactly. And that's where I feel like the structure comes in. Like I need to be structured.
Yeah.
So it has to be very intentional in a positive way.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that's going on. Like I have to, it's like almost like that triangle, I would say. I have my faith that I'm trying to be disciplined in. I have my business that I'm trying to be disciplined in.
Okay.
And then I have my social life that I'm trying to be disciplined in. So those 3 things, and I feel like social kind of I don't want to take away family. Her family kind of being that center of that triangle, but to be disciplined in all those corners and be centered with that, it's like, it takes a lot. But I feel like if you have discipline in one area, you can find discipline in another area. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's a rinse and repeat?
It is rinse and repeat.
Okay.
Because, for instance, me being disciplined with my faith, that's something that I am working on daily. Yeah. And I realized that I was being almost lukewarm with my faith because I knew that, like, I have major faith, but I don't have a deep relationship.
When did you feel that conviction?
I felt it in this new season that I am walking into being an instructor in a leadership role. Yeah. And that tide goes, now I'll take that triangle down to where I was talking about my business. Discipline in my business have always been there, where I've always set a goal. I already knew the task. I knew what I wanted to get done. And so I executed that. I found strategies. If it didn't work out, cross it out, try it again. But I knew that me doing that stuff little by little, I was seeing the fruits of that. Okay? So then when I became seeing the fruits of that, I noticed that, one, you need to have that discipline and being consistent. Yeah. A discipline still has to be, you have to be consistent. So you have structure, you're being consistent, and it's almost a little bit of routine.
I like your nails, sorry.
Thanks.
They're cute.
Thanks. A little rose mauve color.
When did you get this done?
Was it last week? I know, it's cute. I know.
Wow. If you're tuning in to the podcast, this is the time for you to go pause it to the YouTube and look at her nails. I'm sorry, your nails are really cute.
I know, thanks.
And we can get a little zoom in shot.
My girl be hitting it. I told her what I want, she gets it done.
Continue. Consistency, structure, discipline.
And I'm consistent with these too.
Yeah, no, your nails are always giving.
Yeah, for the past year. I know every 6 weeks, 5, I get it done. And
that's the rinse and repeat.
And the rinse and repeat. Like I need structure. Like
even in like, you're mad consistent with your Pilates too.
I'm mad consistent. So even with, so bring it back. So with the business, I know I'm so consistent and I have discipline with that. Yeah. But then now I'll reach a threshold where I'm getting confusion. I don't know what direction I need to go. Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, well, then what's lacking? Is it me not working out? Because now I'm feeling like cluttered in my brain and I have so much tension in here. So, okay, let me do my wellness. And I was like, okay, so like you said, Pilates, I'm hitting that about 3-4 times a week.
Come on, Lori.
We're trying to hit actually getting our cardio in, but even doing that keeps you consistent with your diet. Because you know, at the same time, you can't be pumping out all this iron and doing all this work and leaning yourself and then you're eating garbage. Yeah. So then that's where the diet, I was like,
very backwards.
We need to be consistent with that. So there even be times where I'm like, damn, I'm so hungry, but I was like, I ain't gonna eat this food because everything I worked hard for is gonna go out the window. And it may not be that moment, but down the road, it becomes a habit, right? So then I think wellness is the thing that I'm being disciplined on that's helping me with my business because I need to have a straight focus. Then I'll still be kind of cluttered and realize like I'm missing something else, is my relationship with God. Ooh. And then that's when I start tapping into it like, okay, we lukewarm, we're praying, we are making sure that he's answering our prayers and he's hearing me. But then I was like,
faith without works is dead.
Exactly. And I be having faith.
Especially in the African community. No, for real. Prayer. Are you doing the work though?
No, for real. And the thing, it wasn't even just prayer. It's like I pray and I do the work.
Come on.
Like I feel like my faith is up. I pray. I talk to God. Like if I'm driving, if I'm at the salon, every time I walk into the salon, I'm always praying over my salon, over my staff, over the people who are physically there, not there, clients who are coming and going. That's me on a daily. Yeah, that's me on a daily. Clients don't even realize that. But at the same time, that relationship, and when I say relationship, it's like understanding his word, the text. That's what got me now feeling a little bit more at peace. Is because I was feeling like something was missing, and now I'm like working out. And then I'm like talking to friends, because now the other pyramid is the social life. Yeah. And I'm trying to have discipline with that, but it's hard to have discipline with that because I'm everywhere.
Speaking of, let's pivot slightly, still on the topic of discipline, but now kind of growing into friendships and keeping the conversation surrounding faith. I feel like this year, for me at least, that was my first time getting to fully experience New York Fashion Week. But you've experienced it before.
Yeah.
And something I've asked you is like, how do you do it all, and how do the people that you work with, how can y'all all do it all? And something you've mentioned is like, well, everyone operates their own business, so they treat everything like a business.
Correct.
And even though it is a friendship, there is a business entity and like mindset that needs to be cultivated in order for everyone to do the work hard, play hard seamlessly.
Correct.
So how have you kind of mastered that, and like just describe a little bit more about what that looked like for you for the opportunities like a New York Fashion Week and doing hair for a client?
Yeah, that's actually really good. And it's funny because we've had that conversation, me and my group of friends, who we are like in that creative space. And people always do ask, like, how do y'all have that friendship and business, like that balance?
Right.
And I truly feel like it's the mindset too. I feel like what you said, we operate on a business mindset. And I feel like sometimes you don't have to have a business to understand business, because you can be like that word boss babe.
Yeah.
Boss babe is not just being an entrepreneur. It can be just like how you carry yourself in your life, like the structure you have, right? And so everyone already thinks on the same wavelength, on the same mindset. So when we're working with each other, there's still respect, because if you have a business, you know the value of your business, you know the value you're putting to others, you know the time, you're respecting people's time. All those things go into play. So the way I run my business and my clients, if I'm on set or whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna run it off that integrity as well, regardless of we're us being friends. And then obviously our personality and who we are, it kind of shines through that, because naturally we all have integrity. Naturally we all have that strong mindset to like know not to waste people's time, know when to turn it off, turn it on, when to have fun, when to like get down to business. So working with everyone, it just works out so well, because we know that if it's call time at here, we're gonna move. We all respect each other's businesses and respect each other's time and personal time too. So we know that when it is time to turn it off work, we can still confide in each other, because certain things that we go through is so relatable. As everyone's even in different seasons, like everyone's in a different season in their life personally, but it's still relatable that we can still ask solid advice and it's being given at the same time. So it's a great like relationship, honestly. Like it makes it fun to work with, that you don't feel like, oh, this is like, I don't even want to do this. I don't want to show up. And I feel like that's always been my mindset with work. I feel like I never want to feel like I'm forced to be here. I always want to operate like I enjoy working here. And when I realize that I'm annoyed at work or I'm not enjoying it, something needs to change. Like, what is it? Is it the customer? Is it their energy? Is it the way I'm structuring it? Do I need to restructure something so it's more smoothly? Like, once I realize that, then I switch it or I change, or I'll ask advice from other friends who are maybe not in the same industry as me.
Just to get like better insight. It's good to have like the blind spot is covered. There's something that I do this as in like driving a car. Like as you're driving, you've got 3 mirrors, but there's also someone in the passenger seat that could see other things that you didn't see. So like having someone cover those blind spots are nice. I think just outside looking in, inside looking in, it's beautiful to see, because like in those moments, I was like, wow, like Rosie's really on go, like next hairstyle. And that's what your day-to-day looks like in the salon, out of the salon, whether you're on a trip for work, whether you're, in your day-to-day for work, whether you're traveling for work. I think something that is really full circle moment that actually just hit me right now is your story in terms of how you decided to walk truly into what we see today when you took that trip to LA. And you were doing hair and you were like, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
And that goes
Talk a little bit more about that.
And that goes into discipline. So basically that moment where I was just finished college and I was working corporate and I was working for somebody. And I enjoyed doing it, right? But at the same time, I enjoyed doing hair and being with clients and doing the set stuff and all. It's just fun playing with my hands in that area. And so when the opportunity arose where I was able to go to LA to do hair, that was my first kind of sight of like, oh, I can really do this outside of my comfort zone and still enjoy it, almost like work and play. But then that's where the discipline still comes in, because I already knew I had discipline. Like, I already knew that I can go out there, get it done exactly how it needs to be done, and come back. And I feel like that's how everything really evolved, because I knew that if this is what I really want to do, I need to lay it all out, see how that's going to work out, and truly work on it every single day. And that's not an easy thing, but I feel like when you bet on yourself, you have to create discipline, because no one else is going to do it for you. Yeah, I mean, if you bet on yourself, I mean, for the longest time, I've always been my own entrepreneur. I only worked for myself. So you're telling me that for the past over 7 years, I'm the one that's creating my own living?
Crazy.
That's major discipline. Like, you have to wake up every moment and choose yourself to know that if you don't get up and do this,
there's no plan B. It's just plan A.
Thank you. So it's not just, before team, it was Rose is not getting paid. That means Rose is not going to be able to eat, drive her car, pay these bills, take care of the people who she's taking care of, like, really show up for others how I want to be shown up. Like, I can't do that. So I have to bet on myself. I have to have discipline within myself. If I don't have discipline within myself, then how are we going to get to this bigger picture where we have a team now?
Talk about it.
So even now with a team, it's like, if I don't wake up and bet on myself, now she can't take care of her family.
You gotta get on your Zoom.
You have to
every morning. Clock in.
Now the discipline really is, now the branch has spread, where it's like, and there's times where I promise you, I really just want to be in bed and not do anything. But then I will low-key regret it. Like, wow, you could have answered these emails, Rose, because now they're sitting here knocking like, hey, Rose, can we get a response? And I'm just like, okay, well, I need to get this done, because if this is not done this week or this day, it's gonna drag down the next day.
It's gonna fall on the wayside.
And then next person needs something. Another team member needs this.
Domino effect.
It's a domino effect. So I think that's the ultimate discipline. But I feel like it's not just in entrepreneurship, it's even within my life. Like,
because you're big on systems.
I'm big on systems.
You're big on, like, what'd you say? Don't skip steps?
Don't skip steps.
I'm gonna just let y'all know. Before we came on here today, she said, I think you skipped a step. I said, what do you mean I skipped a step? She said, please lay the top of it. And it's to the minor things, like the minor details of, like, I don't think you really ironed it down with the flat iron the way you were supposed to. Part each section.
There was a step that was
like,
missing.
girl, it takes 2 minutes, but it makes a world of a difference. In what you're saying, something that could be,
that you said that.
something as light as it takes 2 minutes, but it makes a world of a difference. In your end, it's like, if you skip the step of believing in yourself, making that move, betting on yourself, going to LA, would we see what we see today?
No.
If you skip the step of discipline, meaning showing up on days you don't want to show up on, if you were like, you know what, I don't feel like showing up, I'm not going to show up, would your employee get paid?
No.
And so I think just like the bigger scale, the smaller scale, and like the rinse and repeat that we've been discussing, discipline is the key, where it's like, if you don't have that factor, that's what's gonna separate like good from great, or like the girl from the woman, the boy from the man.
Yeah, because I feel like discipline goes hand in hand with ambition. Everyone can have ambition. I feel like everyone has potential.
Yeah.
Everyone has potential. I don't care what nobody
And if you look at somebody with potential, you're gonna be looking for a minute.
You're gonna be looking for a minute. Everyone has potential. Every man, every woman has potential.
Yeah.
Now, with that potential, do they have ambition? If they have ambition, then they just need discipline. When they have discipline and the ambition, then that potential is going to form a beautiful baby.
Yeah.
It's literally that. And I know a lot of people who are ambitious, but they lack discipline. And I feel like if they master discipline, they would literally be just here.
Yeah.
You'll see their full potential.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like I can never reach my full potential. Like, I'm reaching potentials.
Yeah.
And people may say like, oh, you hit your potential, Rosemary. I feel like the potential God wants me to be, I need to continue to be more disciplined. Like, I may have already hit a certain marker right now, but there's a different type of discipline that I need to add into my routine right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm ambitious.
Yeah.
We have a goal here. We know exactly what we want. I'm ambitious in so many different areas, right? But I need discipline to get me further, like to get me further. So then the potential is already there, but I just need more discipline. And I feel like the more I'm itching, the more I'm learning discipline, I unlock a new door. Like I unlock a new level every single time. But without that discipline, I feel like I'm so content. So sometimes I even feel like I said, I'm in a challenge season. I'm in a weird season right now where there's a lot of things going on. When friends and different business colleagues are telling me like, hey, Rose, you accomplished so much this year or last year. You opened a salon within a year and then you moved to here and then you are doing this with the Cowboys and you're doing all this stuff. And I'm like, they're like, they've told me, I think you need to chill. I think you need to rest.
And you're like, I think I need to run it up.
Yeah, they're like, I think you need to soak everything that you've been doing in. And I'm like, you know what? True. But then again, I truly feel like I've done it and I had discipline to get me there. Mm-hmm. But if I'm keep chilling in that, then I will fully not reach the next potential that I feel like God has for me. So I need to create more discipline to unlock this new season that I'm trying to do, and that's with my team building and educating other beauty professionals, and like there's so many things that I feel like God's putting on my heart, but I can't fully tap into that, one, because I don't have discipline, but two, if I don't have a relationship with him. And I feel like that relationship with him is gonna allow me to really hear his voice and not the enemy.
And silence the enemy.
Silence the enemy, because if you don't have a relationship with God, then you will hear the voice and you'll confuse it with the enemy, but the enemy doesn't want you. The enemy is gonna talk you down to a lot of things and you're gonna start having self-doubt. Yeah. But if you're in the text and you're understanding God's word, whatever he's saying is not going to create doubt. It's going to be like, that's what I need to do. Yeah. Right? So
you'll start walking in alignment.
And you'll start walking in alignment with that and really walking with a purpose. And you'll really start really truly walking that. But if you're not creating that relationship, you're going to keep thinking that what you're doing is like, maybe lukewarm. And then the discipline is not really going to be there. And you can't really hit the full potential because you don't know your direction. I feel a lot of us are moving with our own control. And I've done that before where I was moving with my own control, where I was just like, this is what I need to do and this is how I want to get there, so I'm going to do it my way. But now that I'm trying to listen to him, I'm like, okay, this is what you want me to do? Okay, let's tap into it a different direction.
I feel like you touched on everything so well, from the discipline to the evolution to just your story and how that translates even into my story, and how you kind of wrapped it into like faith. I feel like in this new season, I'm walking in faith and I'm trying to silence the enemy and I'm trying to hear God's voice, and I'm noticing that I am walking in alignment. And from that time of the New York Fashion Week trip, there was so much that has transpired. And like, even when I would give you updates, we'd be like on the FaceTime and then like, of course, come home and like chat. It's just been like, I can't believe that this is what life is looking like right now. I feel like there's a lot of full circle moment in terms of your LA journey and what that did for you and how it really helped you sharpen your voice. But I think you sharpening your voice came from God speaking to you in that moment, in that season. It came from like a faith-based conference and all the opportunities that even came into all of that. And so I'm now walking into my LA experience, which is really crazy. So like at this point, I've moved to LA. Like we're shooting in Dallas, but I've officially moved to LA. And I feel like when most people move to LA, especially in a creative space, they're going with like a dollar and a dream. And so I'm excited to see what's going to come of all of this. Essentially in season 2, we're gonna be shooting from LA. We're gonna be splitting time between Dallas and LA. There's gonna be a lot of different open doors, and I'm really excited to see kind of what comes of it. I think just seeing how God has played his hand in every part of it has been super interesting. So really excited to see what this era, this Rosebud era for me even looks like, and just having you as like a guidance as I'm walking in it, that reminder of like, hey Liz, make sure you're being disciplined, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that, until it becomes that routine thing for me.
It's very important.
So really looking forward to it. How do you feel about my move?
It's definitely bittersweet. because it's definitely a big city and there's a lot of opportunity in that city, but then it goes back to staying focused and staying grounded. I feel like I've never moved out of Dallas by choice. I've always wanted to, but it wasn't like fear. I just feel like God really wanted me to be here, to do what I need to do here, and I'm seeing the fruits of that.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are always saying like, you don't really want to move, is this scared? But I travel a lot.
You do?
So I'm not afraid to go anywhere.
You got me into traveling.
Yeah, but I truly feel like at the same time, I had an objective here and I'm executing it, and I don't know where God's gonna take the next thing. So for you to be moving is definitely awesome. It's beautiful. It's definitely bittersweet. But as long as the goal is in place and we know it firsthand,
Yeah.
and then that discipline comes in,
Yep.
then it's like there shouldn't be any fear. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, we're gonna clap and let you go about your business, but only you can determine your next steps into that. And we're just here to kind of support.
I love that. What advice do you have for me as I'm walking into that?
Apart from discipline, my advice for you would be to kind of enjoy, I said kinda first, because I'm truly a believer of balance. We hear all the time work-life balance, work-life balance. People have told me all the time to have work-life balance. I feel like in the beginning, there ain't no thing about work-life balance. I just truly don't feel like that's a thing. I feel like the balance may come from what you're doing with your personal time. It doesn't need to be like being out, going out. But I feel like to really get to where you need to be, this is gonna sound so wrong.
Okay.
I just don't feel like there's such thing as work-life balance. I feel like people who create work-life balance have already obtained everything that they needed to get done. I feel like that's where the discipline comes in, because when you're very focused on something, the balance that we see now is like leisure, like truly indulging in true leisure. But that leisure comes after you've accomplished everything that you feel like you need to do. So I think that's where it goes back to like, what is being productive? Is productive the list that you created and you're crossing it out? Or is it you doing the things that you know you need to get done little by little, but you're staying focused with that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I bring it back to kind of like definitely have a balance of like fully enjoying the new city that you're in, but at the same time stay grounded and focused, because sometimes if you don't remember your why and why you started something, little things that are happening to you kind of swept offshore.
Yeah.
And you'll start to be like, oh, this seems cool, this seems there, instead of seizing every opportunity as in like working in your favor, you know?
Like staying rooted and not floating.
Yeah, staying rooted. So it's like you could be in so many different situations and different opportunities, and so many new people are coming and you're meeting, but at the same time, if you don't have the objective of remembering why you're out there and how it's gonna benefit you, you will definitely end up being unintentional with what you wanna do. So I feel like kind of have your balance, but still make sure
Remember the mission.
remember the mission, or really remember the mission all the time, because I feel like it's gonna get you a lot further to truly enjoy the fruits, like the true fruits, the leisure, the grapes, the strawberries, like the things that you really want. You're gonna really enjoy eating that in a relaxed state than just like little by little.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, and I received that.
Yes. I hope.
What advice do you have for younger women wanting to start a salon?
That's a question I get all the time. I would say the first advice I would give is, I think being a hairstylist first, I'm gonna throw it back to being a cosmetologist, because education's key for me in everything I do. So when you understand that you're a cosmetologist, and when I say that, I feel like that speaks higher than just being a hairstylist.
Yeah.
That means you take the time and the discipline and everything you need to do to obtain that license.
Yeah.
Already you're ahead of the game for the next person. So if you already have that in mind, move like that. Move with education, move with mindset, move with integrity, move with everything that you need to move, because you took all that time, all those hours, all that money to get that license, right? I look at that license like a degree. I went to college, I have a degree. So I kind of put it on the same. It doesn't matter which one weighs the most. It almost costs the same at the end of the day, the semester. So
True.
I still put it on the same playing field. Like, I did take the time to get this license. So I'm gonna hold it with so much weight and integrity and discipline in anything that I'm doing. So if it's me learning from other people, taking classes, and taking credible classes, I'm taking credible courses with instructors or people who you look up to that can really add value to your journey. I feel like that's the core I feel like that's what's gonna change the game with the future hairstylists, because everyone's kind of moving on a very different wavelength, and I feel like they're forgetting the integrity, the education, the reason why we did all of this, right? Because then once you move in that, we have to remember being a hairstylist or even a cosmetologist, or even someone who's, I feel like all the beauty industry is the same. We're moving off talent. I feel like everyone has talent. It's not hard to identify talent, but it's not.
America's Got Talent.
America Got Talent.
And everybody's
I
showing
come
up.
across a lot of talented men and women, but the thing that they're missing is that structure. Because once you need that structure. So I feel like anyone who wants to, you said own a salon, or it's not even just a salon, because I talk to my team about it all the time. It's not even just opening a salon. I feel like you can have a salon within your suite. I feel like a lot of people are now opening salon suites. That's still a salon. And it's still an experience.
Exactly.
I truly feel like if you move on just outside of your talent, really invest in your education on business, invest in the education of finances, invest in the education to sharpen your skills. To this day, I'm always a student. Like, I may be teaching others, but I'm still a student. It's like what you were
saying at Paul Mitchell.
Exactly. Like, I'm still a student in this life. And I feel like I do that to sharpen my skills, because I don't know I'm always going to unlock a new level, right? I feel like everyone needs to continue to sharpen their skills and not be so quick to teach. Because when you're so quick to teach, you're almost doing yourself a disservice, because you're running off of the value of, I want to make the money.
That's a good point.
I mean, and it's true. And I think it's not even just beauty, but if we're talking about beauty, it's like, it's such a trade that's so attainable and the cash is so attainable. But if you're just so quick to just teach, you're actually missing out on so much knowledge that someone else can give you, because you don't want to lower yourself to be a student. And even as me, like, I'm teaching so many people. I have a mentor. I have 2 mentors, and I'm still learning. And the mentors are not just in my industry. There's one in my industry, there's one that's not in my industry. And I'm still learning so much from even friends and groups of people who are in business. And they're showing me newer things that I'm like, oh, well, I didn't think of it like that. Because I can't be so locked in what hair is doing. Because if you're just doing hair, then you're just focusing on just that. So I feel like it's more than just doing hair. Like we talked about the rosebuds, like we're talking about the community building, it's the marketing, it's the business strategies, the finance. There's so many elements of that. So I would really tell someone to really focus on that and gather yourself with that, because talent is talent. But if you don't have those things aligned, I feel like you can't get your talents to be in newer places. Your talents cannot reach you in the places that you wanted to reach, because you didn't fix those little structured things, and it's gonna hinder you.
And it's like the small, minute details.
Because you may end up being in a position like how we talked about LA. I was put in a position, and that whole experience is so funny, because I wasn't even licensed at that time, and I was still in a position to be. I spoke about it before. I wasn't licensed to be in a position. But at the same time,
that was God's hand on you.
That was God's hand.
Because those are the opportunities that, like, you can't describe the qualification that would get you to that moment. It was truly God.
It was truly God. But and with it being God, He still placed me in certain positions to understand structure and business and marketing on a business standpoint. We
didn't even tap into that.
We didn't even tap into that.
They don't know.
Yeah, like it's more than just the talent. The talent was there. They saw the talent. They loved the talent. But if I didn't have the knowledge of how to run marketing on a business standpoint, PR, being really professional, then I wouldn't be able to even be in that door to even get my talents to be even shown, if that makes sense. So
that makes a lot of sense.
I feel like as hairstylists, as cosmetologists, as barbers, nail techs, hair, anyone in the beauty industry, that's literally what I'm working on, is getting everyone to be so structured with that. Because if we're gonna talk about what
I feel like you're answering two questions
I'm
in one. I'm not
answering
gonna
that-
lie.
oh.
Because I had another question for you, but you're answering it. The question was,
What was the question?
The question was, what is your strategic vision for the remainder of 2024?
Ooh.
And you just started kind of prophesying that your vision is to help others outside of just your sphere of like family, close friends, colleagues, etc. But others in terms of that instructor mindset to really pour into them for them to reach their full potential by giving them structure.
Correct. And I don't know if that's going to be a 2024 launch thing, but it's something that's being worked on and God's helping me work on it 2024. So when it's time, it will be presented in the best way to help other people, because I don't want to see this industry go downward.
Flat.
I don't, because there's a lot of talent and people actually really need these services. Like everyone really depends on anything cosmetic and anything beauty. So if I am capable through God's strength to shape in that, then I definitely want to walk into that.
I love that. I love that so much. So this is the part of the show where I turn all of my guests into the main character. I make y'all the host because I feel like y'all are main characters of your own story, and that's why y'all are invited to come into the show. So you have the host hat on. These cue cards are for you.
Okay.
What question do you have for me? You get to ask me one question.
One question?
One question.
It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Hey.
Don't embarrass me, yo.
So the question I have for you is, what is one thing you're looking forward to accomplish this year, and how do you plan to obtain it?
That's a good question. What is one thing I'm looking forward to accomplish this year, and how do I plan to obtain it? One thing.
One thing.
One thing. I think this goes back to my word of the year. The word that I gave myself for 2024 is unlock. Remembering that everything that I need, I already have. And so the one thing I do want to accomplish in this year is to continue acting on that. Like everything I do, remembering that. Whether or not self-doubt kicks in or the enemy kicks in, or I'm in a trial or tribulation, or things are going good. It's not always just when things are going bad. But in all the things that I'm doing, how am I continuing to unlock my potential? How am I continuing to put myself out there, whether it's in a creative space, whether it's in a work setting, whether it's in a faith space, whether it's all of my worlds coming together? How can I meet a stranger and feel like I've never met a stranger? You know what I mean? Like you just automatically click and they're like, I like your energy because you are truly walking in your calling. You're affirmed in that. That's what I would say is my one thing that I would like to achieve this year, and like the steps I'm going to take, or the remembrance of how I'm going to keep that in the frontal lobe for 2024.
That's good.
So thanks for asking.
Yeah, I'm excited to see all this stuff unfold, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like season 1 has unfolded into what we see today. And that's just like in the podcast corner of life. So let's see what happens for everything.
It's definitely being positive, and people like to say manifesting what you want, but I feel like it's praying in details of what you want. I feel like if you're very detailed exactly what you want, then I guess being positive, having a positive outlook on it, it will come to fruition.
Thank you. This is the point of the show where we pass the mic. So there was a previous guest who had no idea who you were, and they asked a question.
Oh, wow.
And you will answer, and then you will ask the next guest, who will actually be season 2, episode 1. Ooh. So your question that you received from our last guest was, how do you intend to make Dallas greater than you found it?
That's a good question. How do I intend to make Dallas greater? Ooh, the first thing that comes to my mind is community. Mm-hmm. The first thing
And
that
you
comes
know
to
the
my mind
person
is
that asked this is huge on community. Yeah.
The first thing that comes into my mind is community. I feel like community is what is going to bring people together. And I've got a taste of that community when I did my grand opening to my salon.
Yeah.
It brought a lot of great people together, and it was just really just clients and like well-wishers, but it really brought a lot of people together. Even when I went to church one Wednesday night and a young lady came to me and she was like, hi, I was at the grand opening, I didn't get to chat with you, but I definitely met someone through here, and then we can hang out and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
Friendships are formed.
Friendships are formed, and that's not the first thing I've heard. I had a client that actually connected with another client, and they both have children, and now they're hanging out. And I feel like that's what brought me joy. I'm like, it is more than hair.
Yeah.
It is community. So I definitely want, as I created this space in Dallas, to bring not just women, but people together, because we all are like-minded. We all love hair, but outside of hair, we all are doing so many great things together, and we're all like-minded. And I noticed that my clients think like me, and we're all the same.
Yeah.
So it will bring another young person together. And if we're doing other things, it just brings everyone together to connect and create, if it's wealth, if it's to new ideas, new innovative ways to just do things. I feel like that would be my mission in Dallas.
I love that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm working on it actually little by little, but I love that question because I feel like community is everything. And being Nigerian, obviously, we're big on community. We're big on supporting in numbers and not just by gifts or dollars. So even walking in this community type like lane, I'm seeing it more and more. People really showing up, or people really just raving or saying it. So I definitely want to put a stamp into Dallas, and they know like where we're here. And it's not just me, but it's the people who are on my team. They are making a standpoint within Dallas overall.
I love that. So in honor of passing the mic to our next guest, which will be our episode 1 of season 2, what question do you have for that guest?
Okay. My question is, when you're feeling defeated, what advice or what do you do that you could share to others to help them refill their cup?
My cup runneth over. I like that. Well, let's see how they answer it in season 2. Thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Beyond you just being my sister, I appreciate just you sharing your light with others and all just the wealth of knowledge that you have. So love you so much.
Love you too.
And that's a wrap for the Empowered Era Podcast season 1. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.